Hey, hello everybody. I will just kind of wait a couple minutes. I'll give exactly 2 minutes for people to trickle in, and then I will get into the webinar. Hope everybody's doing well today, and thank you for joining me. In a minute, and yeah, today, maybe I'll just kind of start. This is our Customer Connect webinars. This is our second session. This is our August session. So, thanks again for joining us. And we are just running this webinar just so all of our customers and anybody interested can join and ask questions and see some demonstrations and make sure they get the most out of their subscription. We understand the platform is difficult to use, and there are a lot of features. We want to make sure, we have a place for everybody to come and ask about these features, get live demonstrations, and even ask, other customers how they're using the products as well. So, um, I will just kind of get started. I know I see we have a couple attendees here, Travis and Yannick, so thanks for joining us today. And I'll jump into it and just to let everybody know, share this around that we have this monthly. We're gonna run it the first Thursday every month. We might skip, July in the summer, but that doesn't really matter moving forward. The next one will be, what's the actual date in September? It looks like September 4th is when we'll have the next one. So, and we schedule them for an hour, but they really don't have to go an hour. It's just whatever everybody would like. And so I'll always have something that we can run through. And then if anybody has any questions or would like to see other things, please just speak up or leave any questions in the chat and I will get to them. So today I did want to focus on saving and comparing our beams because it's a function of our simulator that is very useful to a lot of our customers, but we don't think it's very well known. So on both of our simulators, you can actually save any beam that you create, give it a name, and then you can either rerun it again in the simulator or you can actually run them on our water tank and compare them on the same screen. So I'll kind of take you guys through that and show you what that looks like. So I'm in Simac 2, and I've run a beam here. So I've run a 6 MV beam. And so just to show you, I can why don't we run a new beam and we'll call it August. Oops, I know how to spell. August 7th. Customer Connect. So I guess I should start by saying you can see here we have our save state as. So this is where you're gonna, save your current state of SIMAC inputs. And so you want to click that save state after we run a simulation. And so I'll kind of show you actually if I save it now, it's actually saving on this 6 MV beam we ran, and we have our load state here. And so then now you can see there's August 7th customer connect. And so because I've clicked 10 MV, but you'll see here if I select this, um, oh, it's okay. I haven't run the 10 MV, so it's loading the 6 MV. Um, but here I'll show you. We'll run the simulator and we'll get a new 10 MV kind of default point here, and then we'll save this state with the new settings. So we'll just let this run. Take a couple seconds. Okay, so we got a new dose. And then we can save this. And then so now we've saved it and it kind of overwrites whatever. If you have the same name, it'll overwrite it. And so then we can kind of, if I went to a different test, see what happens. You can see, yeah, so my July 16, it was a 6 MV, and you'd see it changed our bending magnet current. It changed all the values that were saved with that state. And so then if I choose our August 7th customer connect, you see it goes back to our 10 MV mode, giving you back the values we saved in the first place, right? So so kind of the saving of it, and I'll jump into each tab has the load in the save state, so it saves all the values from all the inputs. Like a Simax state is all of these inputs. These all run at the same time and update at the same time. So when you save a state, all of these values get saved, and you can update any of these values and save a new state. So like, a very useful one is just kind of running the same MV or the same energy at different jaw sizes, right? So in your treatment head, you can change your jaw sizes. Even running kind of the same setup at different energies is good to look at. Different energies with different, or same energies with different target materials or different target thickness. You can really investigate how that affects your PDDs. And then, of course, there's things like putting in gun errors or coil currents to kind of introduce asymmetry and then be able to do a cross plane or in plane water tank and compare your symmetry, your flatness profiles. So yeah, so like I was saying, you can save or load this from any of those tabs, right? I'll just kind of make that clear that if I were to click this July 16th, you see it's all of those values. They're propagated through all the tabs. So we'll go back to our August 7th customer connect. So I mean, you can always call it back in the simulator and rerun the simulator just to kind of get the outputs, the single outputs. But we think what a more useful thing to do here is to go to our water tank, and then you can perform a water tank scan with any of those saved states we just looked at, and then compare them on the same chart here. So it's minimal use of a water tank in sense. It's really just showing our results kind of superimposed on each other. In the future we want to kind of have some more water tank features, but this is what our water tank simulator really is right now. So we give it a name for our scan. So we'll do August 7th, customer connect water tank. Yeah. And so then this is where we select our beam. And so there's all your saved beams again. So now we can do our customer connect August 7th. And so then it fills in our energy for us. And then we can do our scan type here. So, obviously do the depth dose if we want our PDDs, and then our cross plane, our in plane, depending for your symmetry profiles. And then it propagates the field size from the save state as well. And then what we can do is we can run this experiment. And we're doing a depth dose scan. So again, it takes about 20 seconds for us to run the simulation on this. And then we go to the compare here. And then, so now here's our August 7th customer connect water tank scan. And then we can compare it against any other scans that we've done in the past, and really see them all on the same plot and kind of see, relative differences from the setups that you're creating. And so, and then the use that we find is giving them the names of the specific tests that you're doing, whether it was field size or target material or whatever with that. And then, of course, on the same side, if we were to go back to our scan and we were to do, let's just do a cross plane. And then so when you do your cross plane or in plane, then you get to selected depth as well. And so we'll run this experiment. And and then we can look at our symmetry profiles on the compare graph as well. I'll just show you really quick, just because everybody sees it, this review tab. This one we're gonna get rid of this in the future. It really just shows the one scan, and so we'll make sure that you'll be able to see the absolute and relative results of just a single scan as well. But it's really, you can just see that on the compare at the same time. So, and I probably should have named this differently, that it was a cross plane scan, but there you can see our symmetry. And then, I have a couple other tests. Oh, that's obviously a bad test. And then yeah, and so you could run multiple scans, compare them all, and then we get a nice little data summary here. So it tells you what your scan type was, the field size, the scan depth, and then a couple other values of flatness and And on the PDDs, it'll also give you your 10 centimeter over 20 centimeter ratio and a couple other values as well. Um, but yeah, that's in kind of a quick, run through. That is our comparing and or our save and compare beam state. So it becomes very useful for, demonstrating how different field sizes will get you different profiles or different target materials will get you different PDDs. It's very easy to kind of set that up for a class to then show people a bunch of scans. And then maybe one thing I'll also show here um, in the compare tab, we also do have golden data. And so you can pick the golden data for, depending on the energy, the field size, and then at what depth as well. And so this is actually the true golden data, and then you can see how close our run is to what the golden data is showing. So you can see how accurate your simulation was to a real life result. And yeah, so that's pretty much the save and compare. If there's any questions, I mean, let me know. I will just show that, it's the exact same here on the magnetron side. Load and save state are here, and they're found in all the tabs as well. And then again, you have the same water tank set up to be able to create a scan and compare those scans on the same chart. And then some other customers that have used this have also told us that there's some use in just preparing before you go on the machine. There's definitely merit here for students to be able to do some research preparation, or whatever anybody's going to do on the machine, to just be able to set up a couple beams, run them, look at the outputs of what we expect them to kind of be like, just so that we're more prepared when we actually jump in the Linac. Like obviously it's not going to replace or be able to supplement the results you're going to get from the Linac, but it can reduce the time needed for setup, and then reduce the amount of scans or runs that you actually beam ons that you actually need to do on your machine. And so we've seen a little bit of success with that with some of our customers, but we'd hope that more people can utilize those types of features. Um, and so I'm just gonna check really quick. Don't think we have any questions or anything, so that's okay. Hopefully everybody is following along. But that is what I wanted to go over with the beam saving and comparing. Maybe another one. So we were just at the APM last week, so that was great to see everybody and see what's going on at the APM. And maybe a couple of our customers kind of didn't really know about our TG51 simulator, so maybe I'll also just kind of show this really quickly. Um, and then I'll maybe let you guys go and not unless anybody has any questions or discussion. But this was something that a couple of our customers didn't really understand they had, and in our opinion, it's one of the features of our platform that are actually it's a very one-to-one application of there's a lot of people and a lot of very easy uses of a TG51 calibration test. Even anyone who's going to go just do one, because we don't do them very often, it's great to run through and get a refresher. And then for students, obviously, you can actually train them on this and get them a real life experience like TG51 without actually having to touch a machine, which is, we know that's big. We don't want to mess up these calibrations, and we know TG51, there are some areas that you can make some mistakes, and we've made sure to include them in our simulator, so it's very lifelike. But we find that this, for our customers, it's just a very easy feature to understand where they're going to use it and how they're going to use it. So you select your machine here, depending on what you're looking for, left or variant. And then what we can do is we can select a beam. And then what we have to do is we have to prep our beam, right? But first we can go to our calibration setup. And so we want to go in and we want to set our SSD. So you can actually move the water tank physically up and down on the scale here. And then you can actually move your ion chamber physically up and down, side to side within your water tank. And you can we have our hand pendant up here, so you can do some adjustments there. And then you can even do some fine tuning to really get your X, Y, and Z for your ion chamber and your SSD set correctly. And so we have a little field view there. You can see, so you can really, it really helps you center your ion chamber. Um, and then you can move it from both views as well. And so then what we have to do, we have our electrometer, and so you actually have to turn your electrometer on before you give it, before you turn your beam on, or your electrometer is just not going to count or collect any dose, and you have to give it a voltage as well. And so then we can go to our console, and so now our setup is ready. Well, I guess even I'll explain it further. We have our TG51 form here as well, and so maybe this could be a part of your setup. So this is the real, we've copied the TG51 form here, so this is still a part of your setup. We want to choose our chamber model. We have a couple different chamber models to select from. And we can put in our username and date and a beam name, and give it some good data to remember the test that you're doing. And then it gets you to set your SSD, set your field size for beam quality, the number of MUs we're going to deliver. And then we have our KQ value. We have our figure here to get your KQ value. And then it asks us to set the SSD, set the ion chamber to the calibration depth, and now we start doing our meter reading with ion chamber at plus 100% bias voltage. So it really takes you through just like the real form, tells you what to do. And so then we can go to our console, we can see how many MUs are delivering here, and so we can prep our beam when we're sure of the MUs. And then once our beam is prepped, we can actually deliver the beam. We'll see our MUs count, and we'll see our electrometer count. Then we'll get our value from our electrometer. I don't think I set it to 100% bias, but that would be the mistake you can make in practicing your TG51. And so now our beam is prepped. And so now we're going to beam on. So here's our radiation symbol. And there's our MUs counting up. And then on our calibration, or sorry, on our TG51 calibration tab, you can see our electrometer start to count. I didn't do the 100% bias, so it would have been kind of an inaccurate reading. But then you would go through and you would fill in your values, and we get our P polarity calculated. Then we do our secondary readings, and then we get our P ion, and then we do some calculations, and we get our dose over MU value out. Once you complete all the tests, you'll get a real value here calculated, and then you can actually just go to the service screen, and you can update the dose reference, our current dose reference here. So from our feedback, we've heard that it is very, very accurate to doing a TG51 test, and we've had a lot of great feedback that they're putting all their students through this every year and getting a lot of success of or I should say every semester. We haven't really had this going for a year yet, and just having some success in seeing that people are really understanding TG51, and it's making it easier for the programs and clinics to teach this QA testing. So yeah, and just make sure everybody knows it's right here. It's in its own tab. So you have SIMAC 2 there, and then TG51. And so eventually we'll get them all together into a new version, and that'll be coming soon. But not we don't have that available yet. Okay, so I mean those are some two features that I kind of wanted to show today. If there's no questions from the audience, I'll leave it open for a couple minutes to see if anybody has any comments or questions. But if not, I mean, I'm happy to wrap it up early, and just to let everybody know. And the reason I'm kind of talking to everybody, I know there's not many people here, but this recording will be available to everybody on the platform. And so I just hope that anybody, and I'll post it to our YouTube, and we'll share it, just so that people know about our customer connect and can see if they missed it. And I'd be grateful if you guys could share to anybody else if they'd like to join. If they're having trouble with the platform, please join our customer connect, and we will take them through some demonstrations and some live QA and things like that. So Yeah, so with that, and maybe if there's any feedback from the webinar as well, please let me know. It might be worth making it only in half an hour in the future, so people don't have to commit so much time, and maybe we could have a couple more people join us. I just know the first one went only about half an hour as well, and it's looking like this one's, around 20 minutes, half an hour. I don't want to keep anybody or just, ramble on, which I'm probably doing a little bit. So I'll just kind of leave it open there. If there's any questions or comments or discussion to have in the chat, I'll leave that open for a few minutes. But other than that, I thank you for everybody for joining me today. I very much appreciate you taking the time. I hope it's useful, and I'd love any feedback of what we want to show in the future, what people want to see, what we're interested in, our questions, where the gaps are in understanding the platform, and I'd love to address it in future sessions. Yeah, and then don't forget if you ever want to share to anybody else too, we do have free accounts, which gets you the 5 free simulation runs a day. And then if anybody ever has any questions about, getting some more personal access or whatever, feel free to reach out. We're happy to discuss these things. So I am going to leave it there. So thank you guys again for joining us. Really appreciate it. Hopefully it was useful, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. And of course, I will put out some ads around the next session and what we'll cover. And please feel free to give some feedback on what the things we'd like to see, and I'll be sure to include them. Great. Okay. Thank you
Okay,
guys.
thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thanks, Travis. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.